You're here with me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, and we are talking about Incubus and Succubus. This is my little two-headed cow that bobbles. I got in that ye old curiosity shop in downtown Seattle on the water. If you haven't been there, you must go. They have an actual mummy in a glass box. It's really cool. Yeah. Okay, so Incubus and Succubus. When I was younger, I used to like the band Incubus. I no longer know what to think about their music since they call themselves Incubus. Alright, let's just get into it. Incubus and Succubus, and we are reading out of Raymond Buckland's witch book. Female is a succubus, and male is the incubus. That's so easy, I didn't know it. I thought it was two separate things. Incubus, boy. Succubus, woman. Female and male demon lovers that in the Middle Ages were believed to visit innocent people in the night and to seduce them. Those so attacked would wake and feel heavy weight on their chest, which would turn out to be the incubus or succubus demon. It was believed that malformed children and even twins were the result of a union between a woman and an incubus. The Latin for nightmare, incubo, the literal meaning of which is to lie upon. Interesting. From this we get the modern English word incubator. We all know incubator, right? A baby's trapped in a little box. The incubus, not trapped, kept in a little box. The incubus and succubus were related to nightmares. In fact, a vision from one of the creatures was regarded as a nightmare. In the Middle Ages, the concept was widely discussed. The initial idea of those two demons may have first arisen from the myths of the ancient gods and goddesses seducing humans, but it was the sexually titillated inquisitions that the witch rituals during the persecutions made that it seemed as if such creatures were almost commonplace. In this book, the sentences are too long, I have to say. A paragraph is 2 sentences. Okay. Many times the demons would assume human shape. It was thought that the same demon would appear as a male or a female. In that way, it would impregnate a woman. First it would appear as a succubus and take the semen from a man, and then it would reappear as an incubus and deposit it in the female. Thomas Aquinas said in his Summa Theologate 1266-73, if sometimes children are born from intercourse with demons, this is not of the semen emitted by them, or from the bodies they have assumed, but through the semen taken from man for this purpose, seeing that the same demon who acts as a succubus for a man becomes an incubus for a woman. Wow, that's a lot. However, there were cases that seemed to throw some doubt on the whole theory of demon visitation. A medieval nun said that she had been attacked by her bishop, Bishop Sylvanus. The bishop, however, pointed out that it was obviously an incubus in his form who had tried to seduce her. The convent accepted the bishop's explanation. I hope that story is true. Nuns seemed especially susceptible to incubi attack, probably because they're so untouched, precious, and kind. You know, they prey upon the innocent. In a book by Ludovio Maria Sarasante in Demona Late et Incubus et Succubus, 1754, told of a nun who would regularly disappear into her cell after dinner. Another nun heard low voices and the sounds of love-making through the thin partition between their rooms. Boring a hole in the wall, she saw the nun making passionate love with a comely youth. After the other nuns had been allowed to witness the scene, the miscreant was approached. Under threat of torture, she admitted that she had long been indecently intimate with an incubus. In most of the earlier accounts of copulation between incubi and women, or succubi and men, there was a mention of the intense pleasure brought about by this union. But later, toward the end of the 15th century, the authorities seemed to realize that the attacks should not be made to sound attractive, and after torture, descriptions began to include talk of the incubi possessing large, rough phalluses, I'm not going to say that word, that emitted ice-cold semen. I guess I can't post this on the Witchins and Pagans. I'm just going to say it. Descriptions began to include talk of the incubus possessing large, rough penises that emitted ice-cold semen. The Malus Maleficarum, 1486, made 3 classifications. Number 1, those who submit voluntarily to incubi as witches. Number 2, those brought against their will by witches who sleep with incubi. Number 3, those assaulted against their will, as the witch trials gained in fervor. The inquisitors came to expect that a witch would have had relations with an incubus, and each witch was tortured until she confessed to that misdeed. May I just say that torture usually gets people to admit anything, whether it's true or not. So that is such a lame form of getting information out of someone, because they're under duress. Like, I don't know. And most people that are really the person who has the secret and won't tell. They'd rather die. Torture is just, I'm so glad it's not used today in this country, at least. Since women were regarded as far more licentious than men, it was supposed that incubi outnumbered succubi by 9 to 1. Saint Anthony was said to have been sorely tempted by a female demon. According to Saint Augustine's Life of Anthony, 361 CE, the devil, unhappy wight, one night even took upon himself the shape of a woman and intimidated all her acts simply to beguile Anthony. Saint Hippolytus was once visited by a nude woman in 230 CE, but when he threw his shalbus over to hide her nakedness, she turned back into what she really was, a corpse that had been animated. Ew! I'm so sorry. You heard me cackle. Oh boy, I love like horror and things like that, so that was just like, and when I read, I visualize what I'm reading. That was fucking fantastic. Okay. It reminds me of in The Shining. Maybe that was a succubus. Remember when Jack, or no, what was his name in the movie? Anyway, Jack Nicholson, he like goes upstairs to check on like if there's somebody in the hotel that hurt Danny's neck, and there's this naked woman and she's gorgeous, and I think it's Bo Derek. Whole shower scene, full nude, starts making out with her, looks in the mirror, it's a rotten corpse. Ah! Oh boy. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, back to it. In the Salem witch trials, there was suggestion of succubi when Bridget Bishop was charged. She had been a tavern keeper who had 2 ordinaries, one at Salem Village and the other in Salem Town. The main charge against her seems to be that she wore a red paragon bodice and had a great store of lace. She had also said to retain her youthful appearance despite her advancing years. Various decent, upright, married men of the Puritan community testified that her shape had visited them and plagued them in their sleep. On June 10th, 1692, she was hung on the gallows hill. And that's what I have on Incubus and Succubus, and you got to hear me cackle, which was fucking fantastic. I love you guys. Thank you for joining me, Jen, the Taxidermy Witch, as we go through our little books and find interesting things to chat about. I love you guys. Have a beautiful day. Join me back.